Yo! I just now watched Salem's Lot. It's streaming on HBO Max. It's a HBO Max original. It is actually pretty good. If you don't know what Salem's Lot is, it is a movie that came out in the 70s or 80s. I watched it as like a little kid. It was a really fun movie. From what I remember, it had one really creepy part that just sticks in my mind, and I'm pretty sure every single person, even if you haven't watched it, probably knows that scene. But this is a remake of that movie, and it came out this year. Well, if you're watching this in the future, it came out in 2024. This movie is really good, actually. This is a very good throwback movie to, well, Salem's Lot type of vampires, Fright Night type of vampires, just the classic, it can be stopped by crosses and garlic and holy water and stuff like that type of vampires. If you like the old classic type of vampires, you'll love this movie, just right off the bat. Barlow, the vampire, looks basically exactly like how he looks in the original one, meaning he looks very Nosferatu-like, very, just very Nosferatu-like, I guess. Looks a lot like how I like my vampires to look, and that really bumped up the score for me, to be honest. You don't see a lot of Barlow, and one of the bads of this movie is, well, getting into spoilers really fast, Barlow gets stabbed through the mouth. It shows the dude that stabbed him in the background after the hole is made. Barlow rolls over. I thought he was going to attack or something, and it would be a longer fight. No, Barlow rolls over and just takes the stake straight to the heart and dies right there. Yeah, it's kind of a really diminishing return, I guess, on what I thought was going to happen. I thought it would be a really epic thing, but yeah, this movie, the entire town turns into vampires. There's a really cool scene where all of them get burnt all at the same time, except for Barlow, of course, because he has to be the last boss. Barlow is, as always, super intimidating in this, really cool, dies way too quickly, I think. But yeah, he gets stabbed through the chest with a sign that says show starts at sundown, which I thought was pretty funny. I pointed it out whenever they drove into the or the drive-in theater, and it had the sign up, and they knocked it down on accident because they drove into it. But yeah, I thought that was really cool because it said show starts at sundown, and they're vampires. So I mean, obviously it does. But yeah, this is a really good throwback vampire movie. Like I said, all of the characters are good enough, and the two ones that survive are probably, well, they're the best characters in this movie. There's a kid that kills two people. He's definitely not going to have trauma or anything after that. And honestly, all the vampire effects are really cool. I think all of the acting is on point for a movie of this quality, and I think the effects are really good, except for one where the sheriff gets thrown through the church window, like the pane glass type of window at the top, and falls down, and it's extremely CGI blood and everything. Just that part just threw me out of the movie completely. Whenever I saw it, I was like, ugh, that looks awful. But the rest of it looked really good, really, really neat, really good. Some of the characters look like they're CGI'd into this movie, and I think that's just the lighting and like everything like that. I don't really know what it was, but the main female protagonist in this, except at the end whenever she gets turned into a vampire, I already gave a spoiler warning, so you can't get mad at me for that. She always looked CGI to me for some reason, and I asked both my fiance and father, who I was watching this with, I was like, does she look like CGI? And they were like, yeah, I think it's just the lighting and her makeup and stuff. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, there's a few characters that look kind of CGI'd in, and yeah, the effects are pretty good. The kid kills his captor by hitting him in the face with a golf club, and I was like, oh, he's just gonna knock him out and leave. No, he hits him again, and blood just splatters all over the wall. It is so cool. I was like, damn, bro is not messing around. And that's honestly all I gotta say about it. Is the vampires are pretty cool, the horror is really good. Some really cool characters ended up dying. The teacher dying actually got to me. I was like, oh, I actually like that guy. And then he comes back as a vampire and gets killed pretty easily. And yeah, everyone in the town gets wiped out, which is absolutely insane. There is one really good scene where Barlow is right in front of. This is the best look we get at Barlow too. Whenever he drains people, he has veins in his head that like bulge and get red. They're really cool. But he's standing in front of a priest, and the light from the cross, because the crosses glow whenever there's like faith and stuff propelling the vampires back in this movie. The light fades and Barlow just goes, "Oh, it's so sad to see the faith of a good man diminish." And that was like one of the coolest lines I think I've ever heard in a vampire movie. That actually goes up there with 30 Days of Night whenever she says, "Oh, God help me," and then the vampire looks up and then down and goes, "God, no God." And that's just, I don't know, all of these amazing vampire lines are just, God, they're beautiful. Just chef's kiss all around. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say about this movie. Talked about this movie longer than I thought I would, but this was a really, really good. Well, this is like the fifth time I've said it, but this is a really good throwback to old vampire movies, and I honestly like the Fright Night and Salem's Lot type of vampires. Just that type of feel to them and the old school lore and everything. Kind of like the old Dracula movie. I like that type of stuff more than I like the newer vampire movies, I guess, like Abigail and stuff like that. I just think these ones feel cooler and they have more of a lore type of feel, and I like that. It just builds a world. It's like once you're done watching it, it makes you feel like, oh, there's still vampires in that world because I don't know, they actually built upon the lore and everything. But I don't know, this movie's really sick. I'd definitely give it an 8.5 out of 10. Just I don't know, go check it out. I didn't spoil that much. Yeah, go check it out if you're into vampires or anything like that, or if you think Nosferatu's hot, you freaks.